Ba, 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 ba. Let's go, baby. Welcome to LSU Live. Very special edition of LSU Live tonight. Please file in. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to celebrate. LSU, the Tigers win. Tigers win 6-5 over Arkansas in walk-off fashion. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, that was awesome. Hey, not only did you walk it off in Omaha to go to the finals, you walked it off against your SEC West rival. My God, what a game. That was awesome. Nothing better. Nothing better at all. Hold on, I gotta send a tweet out. Give me 1 second. LSU fans up on. Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome. Anyway, I'm your host, Grant Sashray. I'm still can't believe this, but yeah, I'm your host, Grant Sashray. Welcome to the Voice of College Football Network. I'm your host on the LSU YouTube channel. If you have not done so, please like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then also, click on the bell, because when you click on the bell, it will notify you whenever we are going live, like we are now, whenever we release a new video, you name it. I mean, oh my God. Wow. LSU was down 3 different times in this game. They were down 1-0 for most of the game. They took a 2-1 lead. Then Arkansas took a 5-3 lead. They held it on going into. Well, they took a 3-2 lead. Actually, I don't know. All I know is that LSU won. Oh my God! Like LSU, Jared Jones. Salute. Salute to Jared Jones, man. My God. After he caused the error, where LSU went down 3-2. They were down 3-2. Jared Jones unloads a solo home run to tie the game 3-3 in the 8th inning. However, Arkansas will come back at the top of the 9th, take a 2-run lead, and with 2 outs. And I said this all throughout the tournament. I said this going into the postseason, and I've said this going into the College World Series. I've said this all year. If LSU can consistently hit in a timely fashion, it's not so much hitting the ball. Anybody, you can get 10 hits, right, and only score 1 run. When you have runners on base and you have runners in scoring position and you bring them home, that's how you win games. It's not so much hitting the ball. It's hitting the ball in timely fashion. And that's exactly what LSU has done all throughout the tournament. And that's something they struggled with for a good bit of the season, right? They're getting hits. Some games have looked on. Some games have looked off. And it finally came to fruition in the postseason. And they continued that going to Omaha. And they came back from 5-3 down with 2 outs to win the ball game 6-5 off of a Jared Jones walk-off hit. And also, you want to give a shout out to Luis Hernandez. Luis Hernandez hit the ball, put it in play. The Arkansas outfielder whiffed on the ball. It causes 2 runs to come home, and that tied the game up. And with Jared Jones up to bat, he does what he has to do. All you have to do is hit the ball where no one can get it, and that's exactly what it did. And LSU won 6-5. My God, I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. Like, that's a good Arkansas team. And with 2 outs remaining against that pitching staff, and you're able to unload 2 hits that produce 3 runs, in your final 2 at-bats, man, what a game. What a game. Tigers win. Tigers win. But I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to play this promo real quick. And then I'll get right back to it. And then we'll break down the game. I'm going to stay here for as long as you guys want to. If you leave some comments, I'll answer them. Oh, man. What a game. What a game.
You can make a difference here at the Voice of College Football. Use the Amazon link. Financially contribute to the Voice of College Football without spending a penny. Same shopping experience. It's easy. Go to any video on any channel. Go to the description section and grab the link right next to the capital letters that say Amazon. Use that link and Amazon will instantaneously convert to your account, settings, history, everything intact, just like whatever link you use right now. No difference. Pay no attention to the product that you see right there. Just go search what you want. Don't forget the Amazon link. Thank you for your support. Sincerely, the Voice of College Football.
There's the boss man, Mark Rogers, giving you the promo. But anyway, here's the breakdown. So Arkansas, it was a 0-0 lead. It was a pitching duel. For the most part, as expected, LSU and Arkansas's pitching staffs have essentially carried them throughout the College World Series, and you expected a good one. Arkansas and LSU have always been generally close. The largest margin of victory between the two teams was a 12-2 victory with LSU in a Mercy Rule game that clinched the series for LSU. But besides that game, the 4 other games between these two teams have been determined by 4 runs or less. Ryder Helfrich homered over the center field wall to give Arkansas a 1-0 lead. And an interesting turn of events. In the 6th inning, Arkansas decided to walk Josh Pearson because they didn't want to go up against a left-handed batter because of the matchup, for matchup purposes. However, Chris Stanfield was supposed to go in. He was supposed to go in, but Jay Johnson pulled a masterclass move. He pinch hits Jake Brown for Chris Stanfield. By the way, Jake Brown's a righty, so and he usually struggles against those batters, but Jay Johnson decided to do it anyway and put up one of the better hitters on LSU roster up to the plate, and Jake Brown delivers. He singles to left center, which allowed Ethan Fry and Stephen Milam to score home. Josh Pearson was able to advance to third. They actually walked Josh Pearson because they didn't want that lefty on lefty matchup. So what a ballsy move by Jay Johnson, and really also a great move by Jay Johnson. Jake Brown delivered arguably one of the, and that's one of 3 big hits that LSU had throughout the game. What a hit by Jake Brown to put the Tigers up 2-1. However, Ryder Helfrich delivered again, and he was able to get 2 RBI, well, 1 RBI home. He got 1 more RBI off this play, but Ryder Helfrich grounded it into a fielder's choice to third. Braswell was able to get the ball to the second base, get the out at second base. However, the run to first base, Jared Jones dropped the ball. The ball rolled past him, and that allowed 2 runs to go home. Arkansas went up 3-2, but Jared Jones comes back, redeems himself, a solo homer to right center to put LSU back in the game. It's tied 3-3 going to the 9th. However, Justin Thomas Jr. Singled to left field. By the way, Chase Schwartz was pitching great, but then you could kind of tell he got a little tired. He started to lose control of the ball. It allowed the bases to get loaded. That's how they were able to get 2 runs home in the 8th inning. But then they put in Chase Myers because Chase Schwartz struggled a bit. But that I did not agree with that move, and I was proven right. Justin Thomas singled to left field to give the Razorbacks a 5-3 lead, and it seemed like it was going to take a lot for LSU to get back in that game, just the way that Arkansas' bullpen had been pitching on the mound. However, in the 9th inning, if you look at, scroll down a bit, kind of go through the sequence of events in the 9th inning. Here we go. So, Robinette singled to center field. Brett Iredale doubled to left center. As that put 2 runners in scoring position. Justin Thomas was able to deliver on that on an RBI single, bringing 2 runs home. It was going to be arguably be the biggest hit for Arkansas all year, but LSU got a little bit of a lucky break. Jay Johnson did another ballsy move, decided to put in Josh Pearson's little brother, John Pearson, up. He pinched it for Braswell. It didn't work out. He struck out swinging. Then Derek Curiel was able to reach first on an infield single, but then because of a throw-in error by first baseman, I don't know his first name by heart. But anyway, Robinette. Because of he was able to advance to second base, leading to him to get in scoring position essentially. And then after that, Ethan Fry was able to force a walk. And then so he had 2 runners on base, 1 runner on second, and then the game tying run on first because Ethan Fry forced a walk. However, Stephen Milan went to plate, but he grounded into a fielder choice to Bahia Aloy. And that shocked me. When I saw that, I was like, shoot. But then I realized he could have gone for the double play. And that's when I realized, yeah, it's not likely, but he might regret that. And with Villalobos, he had a pretty good game today at the plate. And he's a great fielder. I mean, he's the SEC Player of the Year. But that one little hiccup, which didn't seem like a big deal at all, turned out to be maybe the biggest mistake Arkansas made all game. I mean, you really did. Because the next batter was up to plate was Luis Hernandez. He doubles to the left field. The outfielder in left field failed to make the play. It went off his glove and the diving play, and the ball was able to roll to the left corner of the outfield, and that allowed Ethan Fry and Stephen Milan to score home. Luis Hernandez is the second base, so he is the game-winning run. Guess who was up to plate? Jared Jones. Jared Jones comes up, hits the ball, a single to center field, and it went far enough and shallow enough to the point where the outfielder couldn't make the play, and Luis Hernandez scored the game-winning run at home. And the crowd went crazy. Well, the purple and gold crowd went crazy. LSU wins 6-5 and advance to their 9th College World Series final appearance in school history. They've only lost one, and that was in 2017 when they lost against Florida in 2 games. LSU, the 2023 team, was able to avenge that Florida loss by beating Florida 2 out of 3 games, capitalizing it with a 18-4 victory over Florida in Game 3. Of course, we already know about that College World Series Finals. Ty Floyd pitched a then record 17 strikeouts to win Game 1 for LSU. Game 2 was an absolute disaster. We're not going to talk about that. LSU lost, I believe it was 22-4, 24-4. They got absolutely demolished. And then the next game, LSU returned the favor, winning 18-4. So there's that. But the reason why I bring that up is because the year before, because that 2017 team they were supposed to be the team the year before. But guess who they lost to in the Super Regional? Coastal Carolina. Guess who's in the College World Series Finals with LSU? Coastal Carolina. They've won 26 straight games. They are a very formidable opponent, and in my opinion, they played on a tougher side of the bracket. Yes, they didn't have to play against Arkansas, but Arizona, Louisville, and who was the other team? Arizona, Louisville, Coastal Carolina, and Oregon State. That's not a very easy side of the bracket. It really isn't. Louisville defeated Vanderbilt. They won the Nashville Regional. Vanderbilt was the number 1 team in the tournament, and they were able to advance the College World Series. Look at Arizona, won the Big 12. They're the Big 12 champions. They came back from behind to upset North Carolina in the Chapel Hill Super Regional. Oregon State has been a top 10 team all year. And Coastal Carolina won that side of the bracket. That was a much tougher side of the bracket compared to LSU. Yes, LSU did have to go through Arkansas. But UCLA and Missouri State were also on that side of the bracket too. Right? And Oregon State, Louisville, and Arizona were better than UCLA and Missouri State. In my opinion. Arizona is in a very tough baseball conference. The Big 12 is a very good baseball conference. And they won the Big 12. And they made a College World Series. Louisville has been a solid program for the last 15 to 20 years. Had multiple appearances in Omaha. And of course, we already know about Oregon State. They're the only one that in the College World Series that has won multiple national championships. That's three. That's 3 since 2006. They won back-to-back in 06 and 07. And of course, they won in 2018. Ironically, against Arkansas, who famously choked in that game 2 as well. Remember, Arkansas was winning game 2. They're in the final inning. All the guy had to do was catch the fly ball in foul territory to win the game. It was 2 outs. And they found a way to give up the lead. They played game 3. Oregon State ended up winning that game. And then that was not the beginning of the Arkansas curse, but that's when you have the feeling, okay, is Arkansas cursed? Because they've had years, and they've been the most consistent baseball team the last 5 to 10 years. They've had teams that you could make a case were the best team in the country. Like this team. They've had well-rounded teams for years now. And they can't get over the hump. They're up 5-3 in the top of the 9th. And they still lost with 2 outs. How? How? That's crazy. That's just the history of the Arkansas. Okay, I know you guys aren't soccer fans, so that's a reference to Giorgio Cellini mentioning Tottenham, because I think they came back from behind because Tottenham choked, and Tottenham is a soccer club in England that's known for choking. And so he said at the press conference, that's the history of the Tottenham. In this case, it's the history of the Arkansas Razorbacks. I mean, Arkansas chokes again. They've been a disaster waiting to happen. You just had to wait. They had a 19 strikeout game that was literally a hit by pitch away from being a perfect game. By what was the guy's name? I'm tripping. I am absolute tripping. What was his name again? Arkansas. I don't know, bro. I'm so excited. I completely forgot about the guy's name. Gage Wood. I'm sorry. Gage Wood. Gage Wood had 19 strikeouts in the no-hitter and was hit by pitch away from pitching a 19 strikeout perfect game. Saved the bullpen. Only for them to lose in a game where they had a 2-run lead with 2 outs. And actually, I think that game against Oregon State, I think they were up by 2 runs. They were up by 2 runs with 2 outs. I think they were. But you know what? All hats have to go to LSU. That's what championship teams do. They find ways to win games. They just do. Jared Jones has an error at first base that allowed Arkansas to retake the lead in the 8th inning. But then he comes back, hits a solo home run, and of course hits the game-winning walk-off hit. Jared Jones, by the way, 3 for 5. 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs, 1 run. Of course, he had the home run and then also the game-winning walk-off single. This was a guy who had a major slump. He went 1 for 31, entering the final game in the Boundaries Regional against Little Rock. He hit a home run. It was I think it was a grand slam home run. It was a 3-run home run or a 4-run home run. It doesn't matter. It was like at least 3 runs. And he hit a home run. Then he went 4 for 8 in the Super Regional. Then he had a bit of a tough game. In Game 1. He wanted to get out of that slump. He stayed way after practice was over to work on his hitting. There's a lot of clips out there. John Eads, actually I'm going to pull that up right now. John Eads took some great photos. Well, not photos, but video of that where Jared Jones was staying after practice taking extra swings. And it just seemed like that really helped him. It really did. Because I think it allowed him to work on his craft and also calm down. Let's see, where can I find it? Because I think it's on his other one. Hold on, I gotta find this. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay. Give me 1 second. Where is it? Where did he take that? Where is that video? Where is it? Give me 1 second. I'm trying to find that video. Jared Jones. Oh, here we go. I know I couldn't find it. So this is Jared Jones talking with Jay Johnson after practice. Notice that Jay Johnson sat down and had an extended chat with Jared Jones at LSU practice day. As mentioned earlier, Jay Johnson stayed after practice and worked privately with Coach Johnson as well. And it paid off. 3 for 5 in one of the biggest games, is not the biggest game in LSU history. Well, not LSU history. In the season for LSU. 3 for 5 with a home run and the 2 RBIs and the walk-off game-winning base hit. What a great game. And I also want to share this too. Derek Curiel, 2 for 5 at the plate. Ethan Fry also had a hit. Even though he went 1 for 4, he had a hit. Luis Hernandez, one of the biggest hits of the season for LSU. He's come up clutch during the postseason too. Remember, he hit 2 home runs in that regional championship game against Little Rock to send LSU to the Super Regionals, and of course, now to the College World Series Finals. 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs. Of course, that was the game-tying hit. Josh Pearson went 1 for 3. Jake Brown had a huge hit coming in as a pinch hitter. Of course, that put LSU in the lead 2-1 earlier in that game after LSU was really struggling at the plate. And also, Daniel Dickinson went 1 for 3 at the plate as well. Ethan Fry, Derek Curiel, Daniel Dickinson, and Luis Hernandez all had doubles. Jared Jones, of course, hit the only home run for LSU off of Gabe Gackel, a guy that had struck out 10 LSU batters in the opening game when LSU and Arkansas played against each other. Jake Brown came up with 2-out RBI with 2. Actually, do they have 2 outs? I don't remember. I don't know if it says 2-out RBI, right? It only says Jake Brown because Luis Hernandez and Jared Jones both had 2-out RBI, but it doesn't matter. LSU went 3 for 13 with runners in scoring position, I only said 1. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. He had 2. No, he did have, because Jared Jones that was a solo home run. So yeah. So so Jared Jones, Luis Hernandez, and Jake Brown all had those 3 hits with runners in scoring position. And the thing is, Jared Jones and Luis Hernandez were both responsible for all 3 of LSU's runs, and that's the craziest thing too. I didn't think about that. The two guys that won the game for LSU tonight were also the guys that had the 3 errors, which is crazy. But from the mound, what a pitching battle from both Vital Shees. I gotta look up Elks's roster. I don't know why. So what's the guy's first name? I don't know what ESPN doesn't post their first name like some other box scores. I don't know. What's the guy's number? Let me pull up LSU's box score. That probably will help a lot more. Because they actually have their names and everything like that. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, so what a performance. Oh, by the way, the guy I'm trying to mention earlier, Reese Robinette. That's the first name. For ESPN didn't post the first name. So that's what actually helps out. So this is actually so much more helpful. Oh my god. Okay, so Landon Beidelshees and Zach Cowan had a battle in the first 5 innings of the game. Zach Cowan, 5.1 innings pitched. And he pitched from the mound for 5.1 innings, so he came out in the first out of the 6th inning. 4 hits. He allowed 1 run on just 4 hits and had 6 strikeouts. And what really was a bounce back game for Zach Cowan from the mound. He really struggled in his last few outings. All right, and I knew he was going to be the starter because he is by far, outside of Anthony Ianson, LSU's most experienced pitcher. There's no other pitcher on LSU staff. There's nobody on LSU staff that has pitched in Omaha. The only guy that has pitched in Omaha was Gabby Guidry, but he lost for the year because of a back injury. Zach Cowan was the ace for Wofford last year. So I knew that LSU was going to turn to him because they already turned to Casey Evans for game 2. So you had an idea that he was going to be done. But Zach Cowan comes in, he pitches a masterclass from the mound, and really what was a bounce back outing for the first team all SEC reliever. What a game from the mound for him. And then Landon Beidelshees also had, outside the great, he hit 9 strikeouts through 5 innings. Had allowed 2 runs on 3 hits and also had a walk. Gabe Cackle came in and really was continuing his dominant performance on the mound against LSU. He had 10 strikeouts in the first game. He had 4 strikeouts in this game. However, he allowed 4 hits and allowed 1 run on 4 hits and 3 innings. Also had 2 walks. And he was the pitcher that gave LSU its first lead of the game. Cole Gibbler comes in, and he looked pretty decent out there. But then he was the one that allowed those guys to come on base. He was the pitcher on the mound when LSU had the game time, when Luis Hernandez had the game tying hit in the bottom of the 9th, and he allowed 3 runs, even though that was 2 runs. And Aiden Jimenez was the pitcher when Jared Jones hit the game walk-off single. Cole Gibbler was given the run and the earned run because he was the one that allowed Luis Hernandez on base. So that's why Aiden Jimenez didn't have an earned run during his short outing. But Jay Newt only pitched against 3 batters. Then they put in Chase Shores. And Chase Shores looked solid at first, but then he started to have control issues, and I think some of that just has to do with him pitching 3 days straight, 3 or 4 days straight now. 3 games straight now. Pitched a lot in a short amount of time, even if it's in short bursts. And he kind of struggled down the stretch. And he was fantastic out there at the poster, but you kind of tell that maybe fatigue was getting him. Maybe the moment may be getting to him a little bit. And because we all know how great he can be when he's on, but when Chase Shores is off, he's off. And LSU decided to go with Jacob. Chase Shores was able to finish out the inning, but then they went to he was able to finish the 8th inning, and they got subbed out in the early beginning of the top of the 9th. But Jacob Myers allows a hit, which brought home 2 runners for Arkansas. That was when Justin Thomas, who hit in the 9-hole, had a 2-run single to give Arkansas, of course, the 5-3 lead. And Jacob Myers was able to finish out the inning strong. He had struck out his last 2 batters, but LSU's in the deep hole because he allowed that hit. Although the runs were credited to Shore, so it didn't affect Jacob Myers' ERA all that much because Chase Schwartz was the one who allowed those runners on base. But Jacob Myers was able to pick up 2 strikeouts, and he actually was able to pick up the win because he was the pitcher that was in for LSU last when they had taken the lead. So Jacob Myers earned the win. He is now 2-0 for the year. Cole Gibbler was charged with the loss. He is 3-2 for the year. There was no LSU. Jacob Myers earned a save because he earned the win. Blah 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 blah. But what a game for LSU! What a fantastic finish for your Fighting Tigers of LSU. Oh man. Oh. Man, I wonder what Aloy is thinking right now. Oh man, if he had just turned turned that play into a double play, we're going to play Game 3 tomorrow. But thank God he didn't. He kind of froze in the moment. Yes, he did get the out, but he should have gone for the double play, and that ultimately was the first domino to fall for LSU. Well, for Arkansas. Because that's when Luis Hernandez, the next bat, Luis Hernandez hits a 2-run double. Man. Arkansas chokes again. LSU going for its 8th national championship in program history. Two titles in the last 4 years for LSU if they were able to win the College World Series this year. And it's against Coastal Carolina, a team that knocked out LSU in 2016. An LSU team a lot of people thought could win the whole thing in 2016. They were upset by Coastal Carolina. And also, here's the thing that's been an irony. When Coastal Carolina won the national championship later that year, they won it against Arizona. And I think it was in Game 3 of the College World Series. Guess who was also the head coach of Arizona? Jay Johnson. So ultimately, and I've said this before on the podcast, and I actually keep saying this to a lot of people, you should thank Coastal Carolina for beating Arizona in 2016 College World Series, because I don't think it would have left Arizona to come to LSU. Because look, people forget, Arizona, even though you don't really think of them as being a college baseball blue blood, they've won 4 national championships in their program history. And they've been to the College World Series 19 times. They're 1 away from making the 20 College World Series. There's only 7 teams that have made it to the Omaha 20 times. And LSU's one of them. So Arizona could join a very elite class. So people forget how great that program was. They were able to pull Jay Johnson from one of the college baseball's top college baseball's top programs in the history of the sport. And by the way, I just saw the play again. I didn't realize the ball went off the second baseman's glove. On Jared Jones' walk-off hit. I just saw the highlights and everything. That's crazy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, man. Okay. All right, let's go over kind of the schedule is going like the schedule's going to be like of the College World Series Finals. Game 1 will be played at 6 o'clock. It's going to be on ESPN 6 o'clock Central Time. Game 2 will be played at 1:30. Usually, Game 2 is always played during the day, and that'll be played at 1:30 on ABC. And then Game 3 will be played on ESPN at 6:30 p.m. Central Time if that game's necessary. If they're deadlocked at the end of Game 2, then you'll have Game 3 on Monday, June 23rd, 6:30 p.m. Central Time. And also this too. And this is from Top Polo. So also, Top Polo is also always comes in clutch with the stats. But Todd Politz, this is the 6th walk-off for LSU in Omaha. The first one was in 1993 against Long Beach State by Todd Walker. And LSU ultimately ended up winning the national championship that year. It happened again in 1996 against Miami. Of course, that was the very famous Warren Morse walk-off home run. And what was considered to be, and that game is considered to be one of the greatest college baseball games of all time, if not the greatest. Of course, I think every LSU fan knows that walk-off home run hit by Warren Morse. Really, almost every college baseball fan remembers the home run. It's still the only walk-off home run in the College World Series Finals. It still is to this day, which is pretty crazy. Of course, Brad Cressy had a game-winning walk-off hit against Stanford in the College World Series Finals 2000. The next one happened in 2008 when Blake Dean hit a walk-off double against Rice. Back when Rice was really good at it. People forget how great Rice really was in the 2000s. They were an absolute powerhouse program in the 2000s. Then it happened again, of course. Tommy White hit a walk-off home run against Wake Forest for LSU to win 2-0. And that game is now considered to be the greatest college baseball game of all time. And if it's not the greatest game, it is definitely the greatest pitching duel in college baseball history. Of course, you had Paul Skeens going up against, what was the guy's name? Pitcher. No. What was the guy's name? Not Chase Burns. Rhett Lauder. Rhett Lauder and Paul Skeens were the two best pitchers in college baseball that year. And they went head to head, and it was a great pitching duel. One of the best pitching duels I've seen, whether it's at the collegiate level or the professional level. I mean, what a great pitching duel that was. And ultimately that was the walk. And then, of course, now this year against Arkansas, hit by Jared Jones. Jared Jones is one of the few remaining members that was active for that 2023 national championship team. Josh Pierce is the other one. Gavin Guidry is too, but he's been out for the year. And he actually closed out the College World Series Finals against Florida. And was huge throughout LSU's entire time at Omaha in 2023. I'm trying to think of who else was on that team that actually was active. Yeah, it's not really a whole lot. There's only 3 I could think of. There may have been a couple more, but once again, not a whole lot. But yeah, what a finish for LSU. What a game. Tigers win 6-5 over the Arkansas Razorbacks. We're going to keep doing these live post-game streams for the rest of the College World Series. Of course, now we got the finals and everything. Tomorrow, we'll be going over some more LSU recruiting. I got some major news coming through, so it's going to be a lot of visitors, and we're going to go over that tomorrow. Get some rest. Tigers win. LSU will advance to the College World Series Finals for the 9th time in program history. They'll go up against Coastal Carolina. We'll go over that. We'll actually probably have a show about that soon. Maybe we'll give it a little preview of Coastal Carolina versus LSU. Maybe we'll bring back Alex A back on, but who knows. Anyway, yeah. I'm your host, Grant Sashray. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to do some research to Coastal Carolina. Make sure to give you guys the best content. Once again, Tigers win 6-5 over Arkansas to advance the College World Series Finals for the 9th time in program history. They're going to be looking for their 8th national championship. That is that right now LSU is the second most, and if they win their 8th national title, they'll only be 4 away, which is quite a bit. But there will be 4 national championships away from tying USC, who has the most national championships with 12. Thanks again for watching. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then also click on the bell so you can get a notification whenever we release a new video, and we are also going to go live. We go live every Monday at 6 p.m. We'll also do some post-game reactions as well. I'll let you guys know ahead beforehand. This is kind of a short notice because I've been busy all day, and of course I didn't plan this well. But I'll see you guys later. Go Tigers. Tigers win. Tigers win. Let's ride.